Hey guys, this is my Weakauras 2 guide for Legion. I'm going to be showing you all of my Weakauras, what they do, and how to make them. If you look over here at my auras, all the ones that start with HP bar are universal with the exception of this first one. These are all going to be helpful no matter which class you play in PvP, and from here down, from Dark Soul down, these are going to be specific to Warlocks. So no matter which class you play, this guide should be helpful. It's just going to be especially helpful if you play Warlock. So I'm going to try to make this guide as quick and painless as possible. That being said, I'm just going to get right into it. First one I'm going to go over is my health bar. You can see on the screen down here it's thin and I'm out of combat. When I go in combat it gets thicker, shows my mana, and it also tracks demonic empowerment. So in order to make this just like I have it, you're going to want to go to New, Progress Texture, change it to a shape, square, okay. Do the colors however you want. Change it from right to left, resize it, and at the very bottom here, you're actually going to want to make this the frame strata background, which means it's the lowest thing on your screen. So if you just think of your screen like an ogre because they have layers, this would be the innermost layer, where tooltip would be the outermost layer. Okay, so the trigger for this one is going to be a status, and by default it's health on the player. So that's your health bar right there. I'm actually going to make this red real quick. Okay, so that's your health bar. So in order to make the rest of it, you want to duplicate it, and for the first one it's going to be loaded in combat. For the thicker one it's going to be in combat only, and for the thinner one it's only going to be out of combat. Alright, so there's your in and out of combat. So you want to duplicate it again, and this one's going to be for your mana. So the trigger is going to be power, and the display color is going to be blue, and the frame strata is going to be a little bit higher up, so it's on top of the health bar. So if you show the health bar here, you can drag it or use the numbers to resize it. So that's my health and mana. This one's only going to be loaded in combat as well, and then we're going to duplicate it one more time, move it up to the middle, and this is going to be for demonic empowerment. So the trigger is going to be an aura. It's going to be demonic empowerment, and it's actually going to be on your pet because that's what it puts the buff on. And I'm going to change that to white, and there you go. It works exactly the same as my other one. Go to in combat, gets bigger, demonic empowerment, there you go. So the next one on the list is going to be my dark simulacrum aura. It's extremely simple, just tracks if a DK uses dark simulacrum on me. You just go to new, it's an icon, you just go to trigger, change it to dark simulacrum, and then you want to change it to player and debuff, and that's literally it. So this next one tracks all the immunities that are used in PvP. It shows up if my target uses one of these spells. So in order to make this one, you want to go to new, it's a progress bar because it shows the icon, and you want under the display tab, you want to change the orientation from top to bottom. You want to leave this all as default. You don't want to rotate the text at all, so change that to none. Scroll down, you want to get rid of stacks, and that's going to be it for display. For the trigger, you're going to want to type in all the spells right here. So I'm just going to use an example. We have ice block, and also you want to change it from player to target. And that's going to be it. You just type in all those spells and pretty much go down the list of all the spells that I have listed there. So in order to make the next one, which tracks reflex, you can actually just duplicate the one you just made and pretty much just change all the spells in it and change the display to how you like it. And that's all you really have to do. You just change it to spell reflection, mass spell reflection, touch of karma, and nether ward. The rest of it is exactly the same, except for a little bit of the display. I have this one as red, and this one as a different bar, and it's also gray. So this one that we just did tracks if my target uses touch of karma, and this one tracks if touch of karma is used on me. So to make this one, you want to go to new, it's a progress texture. You're going to want to change it to a square again. Get rid of the background offset, resize it, and change the color however you want. And then the trigger is going to be a player, which is me, a debuff, and touch of karma. And that's all that one is. So this next one is actually pretty much the same as the reflect and immunities one, but it shows damage reduction spells, so basically defensive cooldowns. I actually did go through and find every single defensive cooldown in the game, so I have all of them here. So these are all the ones that make a player take 20% reduced damage. These are all the ones that make a player take 30% reduced damage. Dampen Harm has slightly different mechanics, you can look them up yourself. Blur also increases dodge by 50%, but you know, you get the point. So these are all the spells that you need to know. That's 40%. This one is if they use Barkskin and Iron Bark together. You see I have two triggers here. I'll explain how that works in a minute. This one, these are all the 50% damage reduction spells, 60% cooldowns, and then Corpse Shield redirects 90% of the damage you do to a DK to their pet. So in order to make these, you can honestly just duplicate one of the other ones you made. So I'm going to duplicate this one and change the display to, I don't know, armory, so it looks like the other one. Make it a little bigger. The trigger is going to be Barkskin, Iron Bark, and then just go down the list. And then the display is going to be green. So yeah, pretty much just do that, duplicate it, keep going down until you create all of these. And for this one, for the Barkskin Iron Bark one, you can take one of the other ones you made, duplicate it, type in Barkskin for one of them, and then you want to add a trigger here, and then this dynamic information is irrelevant, and then trigger 2 is going to be an aura, and it's going to be Iron Bark, and that's going to be on the target. So you have one trigger and then you have two triggers, and then you want to change the display text to Barkskin Iron Bark, so you know that they used them together. And also you want to change the color to red to represent 40% damage reduction. At least that's my system. You can do your own way. Next one we have Counter-Strike Totem Tracker. This one's highly requested. Basically you're going to want to go to a new icon, leave the display as default. Trigger is going to be Counter-Strike Totem, and it's actually a player, which is you. It's a debuff on the player, it's not a buff on the enemy. And if you want to make it say LOL like I have it, you just go to LOL. One more thing that I have this one do is I go under actions, the actions tab, so on show, so when this shows up, it's going to display a chat message that says Counter-Strike Totem, kill it. So basically this thing's gonna pop up and it's gonna say in /say every time they use Counter-Strike Totem, so that way everybody on your team knows that there's a Counter-Strike Totem. How convenient is that? Also, if you really want to, on hide right here you can have another chat message, CS Totem is dead. So basically once this aura goes away, it's gonna say CS Totem is dead, or you can say your mom is a whore. You can pretty much say anything you want, but you get the point. This next one just tracks if my target uses Grounding Totem, and the one after is if my focus uses Grounding Totem. So to make these, you want to go to new, it's an icon, the trigger is Grounding Totem. And here I have Grounding Totem and Grounding Totem effect, so I'm not sure which one actually triggers it. I'm pretty sure it's just Grounding Totem, but I'm honestly just too lazy to figure out which one it actually is right now. So you're gonna have to fucking get over it and either figure it out yourself or type both of those in. Rough life. I asked this guy and he's not sure, he doesn't know what it's called. And that's the extent of my research that I'm willing to do. So you have this one, it's gonna be on the target, and then you duplicate it, and then this one's going to be for your focus. Simple as that. Alright, so now I'm going to get into the Warlock-specific ones, and yes, I just renamed this one and this one. So to make these, you just got to go to new, progress bar, and the trigger is Demonic Synergy. And I'm going to assume that you guys know how to do this by now. If you've watched any of the other ones that I've made in this video, it's exactly the same thing. To get rid of the text at the top, like I have it on mine, you just put a space on the top text and then it's blank. and then that's going to track demonic synergy, and then duplicate that, and then the trigger for that is going to be soul harvest, and then you got both of those done there. So if I set my pet on there, it's going to get demonic synergy. If I pop soul harvest, both of those are going to work just fine. And if you don't want the timer to show the decimals, that's very simple. You just go to display, and then this here you go put it on to 12, and this one you put on 12. Alright, so this next one is my imp tracker. You can see in the bottom is this little 0. I'm not going to show you how to make this one because I don't know how to make it. But as you can see, it is tracking all of my imps and tells you how long is left on them and how many I have, so that at the very last second I can use implosion. So yeah, that's going to be really helpful for demonology using implosion, or just demonology in general, because for your artifact weapon you're going to want to use that when you have the most imps out as possible. For some reason, when I click on this in Weakauras and then I try to use it, the number doesn't show up. You can see the number is now gone unless I reload my UI, so that's the only downside to it, but it really has no effect on your PvP. Just thought I'd make a note of that. As I said before, this one is really fucking complicated. I did not make it myself. I'm pretty sure the guy who made it actually like coded some of this stuff himself. So I'm gonna be putting a link in the description to a paste bin where you can just copy it and you can import it. You just go to new, import, paste it, and then hit the import button. And yeah, you'll have that one. Alright, so next we have our soul shard tracker. This is nice in combination with the health bar, so you don't have to have the default blizzard thing in the middle of your screen, which isn't all that bad, but I prefer the giant health bar. So to make this one, you want to go to new. It is a icon. The trigger is a status, and it's a power, and it's a power type. The power type is going to be soul shards. And didn't mean to do that. And for the first one, you're going to want to have power greater than or equal to 1, so that's going to be your first soul shard. And the display, well, I don't really want any text, I'm going to put a space there. The icon, you want to go to choose, just search soul shard, click on that one, or use whatever you want, honestly. And that's going to be my first soul shard, and I only have mine load in combat, so I'm going to put it in combat only. So that's my first soul shard. I'm going to duplicate it, go to trigger, change that to a 2, okay, move it over to the side, I'm going to duplicate it again, change that to a 3, okay, move it over to the side, duplicate it again, change that to a 4, okay, move it over to the side, duplicate it again, change that to a 5, okay, move it over to the side. So you're probably going to want to use the numbers for the exact width, height, x and y offset like I did for mine, but as an example, these should work just like my other ones. So there's my 4 soul shards and my 5th one. It looks beautiful. I say keep it as is. So the last 6 or 7 of these are all very basic timers. I'm gonna go affliction so I can show you an example of what it looks like in action. They're pretty much just timers on my action bar to track my dots, to track my artifact weapon, and to track mana tap if I ever use that. So let me spec into Siphon Life real quick, and alright, I'm gonna put corruption or agony, Siphon Life, and corruption, and you see all the timers show up on my action bar. I can also use my artifact weapon, and that will tell me the duration remaining on my artifact, and that's pretty useful because you can actually overlap your artifact quite a bit if you're not careful, so that's why I made that one. The ones that track the dots really aren't as necessary because you can see on the nameplates, it shows how much time is left on the dot. So those I was just kind of, you know, messing around. I don't know if I'm going to keep those or not. I really don't see any reason to delete them though, so I'm pretty much just going to leave them as is. Alright, to go about making these, it's really simple. You just go to new, you make a text, the trigger, say agony, on the debuff on the target, and that's literally it. So as you can see, if I put agony on him, that's going to be it right in the middle. Alright, I'm just going to go over these last couple real quick. So the agony, the Siphon Life, and the corruption are all going to be the same. For my artifact weapon, the trigger is going to be Deadwind Harvester. It's an aura on me. So that's all that is. Same thing, it's a timer. Mana tap is the exact same thing, it's just an aura called mana tap. Immolate is the same as the debuffs. The only difference is I duplicated it, and for this one it only shows if it's greater than 6.6 seconds remaining, and this one it only shows if it's less than 6.6 seconds remaining, basically meaning if it's red I should start casting it. It's efficient to refresh it at that point. And the way that I got 6.6 seconds is I just took the base duration and multiplied it by 0.3, because Pandemic allows your dots to be increased by 130% of their base duration. So once it gets to 30%, you can add another 100%, and then that will be your maximum efficiency for any dot. I didn't do it with the other dots because I don't see it very necessary. Also, Fly Plate buffs, the add-on that I have that shows the dots on the enemy nameplates. My dots will start flashing when they're at 30% anyways, and that's adjustable. You can have it flash whenever you want. So that's why I didn't really bother making the rest of them turn red when they are at low duration. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank fucking god, that was a huge pain in the ass to make. I'm not kidding, I'm not exaggerating. That took like 5 hours. It should have only taken me like 2 hours, but I don't know, I stuttered at the I don't know why it took so long to make. But if you could go ahead and do me a favor, pause that ad block, press that refresh button, press that like button, press that subscribe button, press that refresh button again, maybe 3 or 4 more times. Keep that ad block button off. You know, watch all my other videos, then put ad block back on. You know, maybe make my $10 so I can go to McDonald's tonight. That'd be really cool. This video is probably gonna get like 30,000 views at the most. It's gonna make me maybe like, I want to say like $25. So, you know, a couple trips to McDonald's there. Maybe bring a girl. If you guys spam refresh enough with ad block off. So yeah, that'd be appreciated. Hopefully YouTube doesn't, like, you know, I don't know, kill my family because I told you guys to do that. But yeah, appreciate you watching the video. Hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you guys later.